Hey girls and gals, welcome back to my channel. My name is Taylor and today is going to be another reading vlog, another weekly reading vlog. Today is Monday, September 4th, and I do have some reading plans. I'm bringing over one book from last week that I got 40% of the way through, and then since I always read multiple books at one time, I'm going to decide which fantasy series that I am going to start today because, you know, I'm in like an epic fantasy mood and also a horror mood, so we've got one of each. So the book that I was reading last week and I got 40% of the way through would be Boys in the Valley by Phillip Fracassi, I believe. I'll have to double check that. But this is like a kind of exorcism meets Lord of the Flies set at a all-boys religious orphanage in like the early 1910, something like that, I want to say is the time era. So we're following a group of boys. Things start getting very weird, very spooky. It is a religious orphanage. All of their caretakers are priests. A mysterious stranger comes to get aid, to get help. They end up dying on the premises. There was something a little bit wrong about this stranger, and they think he may have been possessed. He may be passing on this possession to certain individuals at this orphanage. So I'm listening to that via audiobook, 40% of the way in, and then I have two fantasy books, start of huge series. Well, not huge, I think they're both trilogies. One of them may be a quartet, but the books are all very large in length. So I haven't figured out exactly what yet, but I'm either going to pick up The Last Magician by Lisa Maxwell. I think this is like a time travel sort of tale. Stop the magician, steal the book, save the future. So I do think it is like a time travel fantasy story. And then the next one's more of a romantasy, and that would be Daughter of No World by Carissa Broadbent. So, you know, very different kind of vibes, YA historical plus like I think adult romantasy. So I haven't decided which one of these I'm going to pick up yet, but I think either one will probably be a good juxtaposition to the adult horror that I'm already reading. So those are my reading plans for this week. I don't think they're subject to change, at least not for at least Boys in the Valley, because I'm going to finish that one soon. I haven't decided which one of these I'll pick up. It is Labor Day, so my partner is at work for a little bit today, coming back home I think in the next hour or so, and then we're gonna go over to my friend's house and we're gonna have a puppy play day, have a cookout. So yeah, those are the plans for today. These are the reading plans for today. I'm just gonna figure out, maybe based on what audiobook availability that I have, which one of these fantasy books that I'm gonna pick up today and then continue throughout the week. Also, maybe I'll check my library app and make sure, like, see which one is due back at the library next, because then that will also impact which one I pick up first. But yeah, that's my reading plans. That's today's plans. It's gonna be a good time. Looking forward to the first full week of September. Last week, you know, September started, but we did have a little bit of August in there as well. So this is the first full week of September. Looking forward to reading a very creepy book, maybe some more lighthearted but still big stakes fantasy, and I will talk to you all later. Hey vlog, happy Tuesday. Short little update because I am kind of branching off into another vlog. I don't know if you'll see this vlog before or after this one, but it is the release date as I'm filming this, September 5th, for Holly Stephen King's latest book. So I am making a dedicated vlog to this one. However, I'm really going to be very excited about reading this, going to dedicate a lot of time reading it. I would like to finish it either today or tomorrow. I just want to sit down and not stop until I'm done reading this. so just a heads up for this vlog. It shouldn't impact the timing or like the length of this vlog too much, but it's Tuesday. This is the only real update I'm going to give on my reading for probably Tuesday and Wednesday, because I'll come back on Thursday with more scheduled bookish content. But for now, I'm gonna go dive into this. Just wanted to give a quick little heads up that if this vlog's a little bit shorter, that is because I'm taking a detour to read Holly and just making it its own little vlog. So I am reading some good books that aren't Stephen King's Holly, so I'll update you those when I get done with this book. So I will talk to y'all with another reading update a little bit later on this week. Long time no see vlog. It is now Saturday morning. Like I mentioned, I think in my last update that I was going to take a couple days off to focus on my Stephen King Holly, that new release vlog. So that is what I did. I do have a book back there that I also have been reading for a secret TBR video that should hopefully be coming out this month. So I've been reading that. I've also been reading Holly. I'm about 70 pages of the way to the end on this one, so that vlog's gonna get wrapped up soon. Spoiler alert, I'm really loving it. So those have been primarily what I've been reading these past couple days. I did finish Boys in the Valley by Phillip Fracassi, and this one was unfortunately kind of a letdown for me, and I think this is one where definitely I would have liked it more had there not been so much hype. Everyone was saying this was like the scariest book that they've read all year, that the audiobook was terrifying, that they like could not sleep because this was so startling. It was compared to The Exorcist, Lord of the Flies, and I went into it, and I have to say the audiobook is very excellently narrated. That's the way I read it. That's the way I personally would recommend reading it, because I feel like if I didn't have the audiobook where I had no other option to listen to it, like I listened to it while I was making dinner, doing laundry, driving, so I didn't have an option not to listen to it, if that makes sense. And here's the thing, not that I didn't enjoy it, it wasn't a bad book, but like it wasn't one where I didn't want to put it down. Like I'd read maybe 3 or 4 chapters, I'd put it down. I didn't have ever like that pulling urge to pick it back up again. So for me, like there was nothing wrong with it. There's no, like, I don't have any bad things to say about it. I also don't have like any like gushing praise to say about it. This one for me is just like a very middle of the road sort of exorcism story. If you really like religious horror, exorcism horror, if you like those things and you like creepy little kid horror, I think this is something that you could pick up. I tend to like those things in books. This one just didn't like bring anything new to the table for me. There were some creepy moments. I do wish that they had been expanded upon. So unfortunately, it's just I don't want to say unfortunately and make it sound like I hated this, because I didn't. I think it's very well written. I will pick up something by the author again, because I did like the writing style, and I thought that the book itself was technically very well done. Just like wasn't a story that really spoke to me, or like I thought was particularly scary, which that's on me for buying into all the hype and having like this huge like high expectations of the book. So listen, I can't think of anything that was wrong with the book. So if this synopsis still sounds interesting to you, and I think I have mentioned that the synopsis a couple of times in this vlog, so I'm not gonna rehash it, but if it sounds interesting to you, definitely pick it up. I would recommend the audiobook. There's only one narrator, but he does a really good job of differentiating every single character, so you're never lost on who is who in the story, which is good. So yeah, I mean, if it's available to you, like if you can check it out via Libby or something like that, listen to the audiobook. I do think like it is, I would say this one is also one that takes place in the winter. I've been reading a lot of wintry books and horror books lately, but like this one kind of takes place in the winter. So, you know, if you have like a cold climate, I think that will really help with the horror and the terror. And you know, this could be like a good November, December horror read. I feel like I wouldn't say it's one you need to prioritize for. I know everyone's making those October TBRs, especially as horror fans, so I don't think it's one you need to prioritize for the month of October, but I think this could be a really chilling, dad pun there, this could be a really chilling read for like November, December, January, like when you have those snows and that weather that is taking place in this book. That might be a fun atmospheric read, but unfortunately just it didn't live up to the hype for me. That's okay, not every book is gonna do that. But then I apparently did not like listen to the own lessons that I learned, because I immediately picked up another very hyped book. It's very different though than Boys in the Valley. So I picked up Daughter of No Worlds, The War of Lost Hearts Volume 1 by Carissa Broadbent. This is a romantasy book. I don't know that much about it. I know a lot of people love this series, especially if they like Sarah J Maas. I like Sarah J Maas. So I know even though this is going to be like a fantasy like war type story, I do like picking up books that aren't like horror in between my horror reads. So I think number one, it just, you know, makes things fresh for me. Number two, I feel like if I'm reading horror like 24/7, which, you know, is fun, but like all the time, if I'm reading nothing but horror, I think I could have the tendency to get a little bit burnt out, which is not what I want to do in September, because I want to read a lot of good scary books in October. So the last couple horror books that I've read, Boys in the Valley and then The Handyman Method by Nick Cutter, I can't remember if I've even mentioned that one at all in this vlog or not. I read it last week, I think, so probably not, but both of those were highly anticipated horror reads that ended up just being okay reads. So yeah, we're switching it up. We're trying a romantasy. I guess I should mention, I don't know if this is technically romantasy, but I've just seen a lot of romantasy people pick it up and read it, so I don't know a lot about this one. I do know there's like a very strong female main character, a la Selena in Throne of Glass maybe. There's a rebellion. I'm not too sure because I haven't gotten that far into it. I'm on about page 50 or so, but I do look forward to reading more of this. I'm enjoying my time so far. The reverse of Boys in the Valley, I'm not sure how I feel about the audiobook. There's our main character is learning another language, and when she's speaking in the second language that is not her native language, the voice actress makes her sound like a very young child, which I don't love, because she's still the same age. She's just learning another language. I guess the differentiation between the two languages in here might be hard to do on an audiobook unless you make like a different voice for the character but still have readers know listening to it that it's your main character. I don't know. I just don't love it. And since our main character is using like that secondary language a lot, it's not my favorite. It's a little grating, so I think I'll probably be primarily reading this one physically, but just want to come on, give a little reading update. This weekly vlog probably will be a little bit shorter because, again, those two books back there, they both have their own specific vlog. So that's pretty much all I read. What was it? Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday-ish. So yeah, I did pick up another book. I will update again either tonight or tomorrow. I'm feeling tomorrow, but we'll have to see. But yeah, that's what's been going on with me. At Whole Foods, me and my partner found like this new vegan steak, which looks very interesting. So we're going to try that tonight for dinner. He is not vegan. I am vegan, so that'll be interesting to see. I do kind of like that, that he's not, because number one, if I'm suspicious about something like from a fast food place I've had before, I've had him take a bite of like my Impossible Whopper or something before I eat it, so that he can make sure that it's vegan meat and not real meat. It's always interesting to see, and I like when people who aren't vegan, if they ask like what's the best meat substitute or what's the best cheese substitute, he has like a different idea sometimes than me of what they're looking for, because obviously he still eats meat and cheese and all of that, and I haven't eaten it in years, so what I think are the best substitutes like probably might not be the best, since it's been a while since I've eaten any of those things. things. So we're gonna cook that vegan steak up. Not sure how, but I think we have asparagus too, so probably just like, you know, normal steak. Gonna watch some Ghost Files, gonna watch some Ghost Adventures because we've been addicted to that show lately. It's so good. It's so unintentionally funny, and like it's the perfect balance of when you want something like a little bit scary, a little bit like Halloweenish, haunted-ish, and you don't want to watch like a horror movie. Ghost Adventures is great. So we've been really like speeding our way through those seasons. We're on season 6 right now, and that is going to be our wild Saturday night. But yeah, gonna get some reading in, and I will check back in with you later with another reading update. So it is time to wrap this vlog up. Some quick updates now on season 7 of Ghost Adventures. So that's going really well. Fun stuff. It's definitely one of my comfort shows for me, as weird as that sounds, but season 7 now. And then the vegan steak that you saw earlier, I liked it, my partner liked it. It kind of weirded me out with like the texture a little bit. My partner liked it. He said it was like a little bit on the dry side, but if you're eating it with like steak sauce or something like that, it would be good. But it was good on its own, but it was a little drier than regular steak. And we both kind of decided next time we just wanted to like fry it up with minimal sauces, minimal spices, everything like that, because it was our first time trying it. So really to get a feel for it, to kind of see if we like it. And we do like it. Very high in protein, and we liked those. We're thinking next time we get them, because they were on sale at Whole Foods, which is why we got them. So we're not going to be getting them every single week or anything like that, but next time there's a good sale on them, we're thinking it might be good in like a beef stew or like a stout pie or something like that, where there's like shreds of like the beef in it. We think it would be really good like that. So vegan approved, meat eater approved. Definitely it was one that like doesn't freak me out like looking at it, but tasting it at first I was like, ooh, okay, what's going on? Because it's been a while since I've eaten steak. Before I was vegan, I was vegetarian, and then before I was vegetarian, I didn't really like a lot of meat. So I would say like I tried to go like not even pescatarian, because I never really ate fish, but like white meat only for a while before I even went vegetarian. So it has been a hot minute since I've eaten steak. So definitely was weird having that again. And then we just, you know, paired it with asparagus. We normally probably would have like paired it with potatoes or something like that, but we didn't have any. So we just paired it with some tteokbokki, which is like a Korean rice cake. It's so good. And depending on what you make with that, you can either make it like your main dish or a side dish. So yes, that was, you know, just a little vegan steak review for y'all. But it was a fun little thing to try. I know I said we were gonna do it on Saturday. We ended up just doing something more low-key on Saturday. What were we doing on Saturday? I don't remember. I think we had a FaceTime call with my family. It was something that was right around like dinner time, so we didn't have like time to like make like a nice meal, so we ended up cooking it on Sunday. So it was like a nice Sunday meal, a nice start to the week. So yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and wrap this up. I know it's a little shorter than other vlogs, that's okay. But last reading update, I am about 35% of the way through A Daughter of No World, and I'm very intrigued. A lot of the things that I wasn't liking, like I stopped reading the audiobook and I'm pretty much reading this physically, and I'm really enjoying it. Just the narrator, in addition to what I had mentioned earlier about the way that she has the main character talking, the narrator is good. She sounds like a more mature woman, and all of the characters in here, at least the main ones, are very young. They're like 21, 23, like that age range. And the narrator has a very mature voice, which is totally fine for like the narration and description and all of that. It does sound like a very good fantasy narration voice. She just is like just a little too mature for the characters and like how I'm picturing and how old they're supposed to be. So definitely not a bad audiobook production, but it just, I'm enjoying it a lot more reading this physically. And I still don't have like too much to say about it. It's so hard trying to describe like the start of an epic fantasy series, especially when it's your first time reading it. But we are following our main character, Tisana. She used to be a slave. She escaped her enslavement and her master, and she has gone to her people. She flees to not only her people, but the magical orders, which contain the rest of the magic wielders in this world, and she's going to learn how to harness her own magic and hopefully return back to Threll, which is the nation that she fled, and free all the other enslaved people in Threll's service, especially her own people. She gets introduced to this very grumpy, want-to-be retired war hero named Max, and he is going to train her reluctantly at first, but there's starting, I think, to be a little something going on between those two. So there's where you have the romanticy part of this fantasy book. But yeah, 35% of the way in, still pretty much getting into it, getting used to the magic system, learning how things work in this world, learning the different nations, the different people's names. So yeah, I'm enjoying this. We'll be continuing on reading it in next week's reading vlog. And that is really my only reading update. So yeah, I think, you know, as soon as I film this outro, I'm gonna film the intro for my next reading vlog. So I'm gonna be reading this in my next vlog for sure as my fantasy pick. I'm also gonna pick out a horror pick, I think. Either like a horror or like a maybe sci-fi. I'm feeling horror. We'll just have to see. I'm gonna be picking up something else in conjunction to this, reading it next week. So you'll just have to tune in and see what I pick up next and my thoughts about the rest of this book. But that is going to be it for this vlog. If you enjoyed it, please be sure to give it a thumbs up, leave a comment down below, subscribe to my channel for all of the cozy gaming and bookish content. Stay safe, keep it creepy, and I will talk to y'all in the next video. Bye!